These pictures look familiar. If you do not compare yourself with another, you will be what you really are. Krishnamurti. When I first moved to the Berkshires, I worked for Elder Services in Pittsfield. I was a respite companion. I visited people with Alzheimer's, strokes, heart disease, or were blind. I played games with them, talked, read to them, told stories and jokes. They paid me $4.27 an hour. I bought my own gas. One time I visited a man who had Alzheimer's, Nelson Nemser. He was in his late 70s or early 80s. I was giving his wife a break for 4 hours. She was going to get her hair and her nails done, go to the bank, and do some shopping. At the end of 2 hours, Nelson looked at me and said, "Who are you?" "My name is Dick Macht," I said. "I work for Elder Services. I came to stay with you and give your wife a break so that she could go into town and do some errands." He looked at me and said, "You have to go." I paused, looked at him and said, "I can't leave until your wife gets back. I have to stay with you so that you are not alone." He looked at me again. He was a tall man, had white hair, blue eyes, and a face that wobbled. He turned around, went into his bedroom, and came back into the living room with a baseball bat in his hand. He looked at me and said again, "You have to go." "No, Nelson," I said, "I can't go. I have to wait until your wife gets home." He raised the baseball bat and said, "Go." I moved back towards the door, holding the front of his shirt in my hand and pulling him with me. Before I knew it, we were both outside the house, with the front door closed and locked behind us. He standing there before me with the baseball bat in his hand. At least, I thought to myself, we're both outside the house. "I will wait in my car for your wife to come back," I said to him. Went over to my car and got in. He walked to the garage by the side of the house, lifted the door, went inside, and brought the door down in front of him with a bang. Then he stood there looking out through the windows at me sitting in my car. He had barricaded himself inside the garage with the door down in front of him. I could see his face and his raised baseball bat through the small windows. 2 hours later, his wife came home and found us, he behind the front door of the garage with his baseball bat in his hand, I in my car, waiting patiently. She apologized profusely for what had happened. We couldn't get back into the house because all the doors were locked. Finally, I found a kitchen window in back, which was unlocked, thank God, and through which I was able to crawl, get into the house, and open the front door for both of them. When we were all safely inside, his wife apologized to me again. "I guess you won't be coming back, Dick," she said to me. "Why not?" I asked. "I like your husband. I'll come back next week. You just can't leave us for such a long period of time. 4 hours is too much for him. Go for 2 hours, that's enough." She thanked me and said, "Do you ever do any traveling, Dick?" "Yes," I said. "I just came back from a trip to Mount Rainier National Park in the state of Washington." "Did you take any pictures?" "All kinds," I said. "Bring them with you and show them to my husband. He'll like that. He was a traveler in his younger years, especially when he was a Boy Scout. He traveled with his troop all over the United States. The following week I came back and showed Nelson Nemza, the man with the baseball bat, the pictures of my trip to Mount Rainier National Park. In fact, I came back every week for the next 6 months and showed him the same pictures. And each time I showed him the pictures, it was as though he was seeing them for the first time. He loved them, and after 6 months of looking at the same pictures, my new friend said to me, "You know something, Dick? These pictures look familiar." Each week, before we looked at the pictures, we would also go for a walk for half an hour, which he loved to do too. One week he said to me, "Do you do anything else, Dick, besides take pictures?" "Yes," I said, "Nelson. I help people cook, wash, get dressed, whatever they would like me to do." "Would you help me shave?" "Sure," I said. "Let's go upstairs to the bathroom and get your razor." We went upstairs but couldn't find his razor anywhere, although we looked all over for it. Finally, I found it under the sink in the cabinet stuck way in the back. I took it out and shaved the hair on his cheek and neck that whoever shaved him had missed. After we were finished, he took out some coins from his pocket and said to me, "Dick, I want to pay you." "No, no, Nelson," I said. "You don't have to pay me anything." "Yes, Dick, I want you to take something." So I took a dime, a nickel, and 3 pennies, 18 cents, a chai, for good luck, out of the palm of his hand and put them in my pocket. Then we went downstairs and Nelson turned to me and said, "Do you do anything else, Dick, besides shave people? Have you ever done any traveling?" "Yes, Nelson," I said. "I just came back from a trip to Mount Rainier National Park in the state of Washington. Do you have any pictures of your trip?" "Sure," I said. "Would you bring them with you the next time you come to visit me?" "To tell you the truth, Nelson, I just happened to have them with me. Could I see them?" "Sure, Nelson," I said. And we both sat down in the living room and looked at the pictures of my trip to Mount Rainier National Park all over again, the same pictures we had just finished looking at earlier that afternoon. "Yes," Nelson said to me, after 6 months of looking at the same pictures, "you know something, Dick? These pictures look familiar." And the two of us looked at one another in the eyes and laughed.